Hey guys, it's Snowbyrde. Dude, I remember the first time I got called out for being girly. This unnamed male family member of mine was like,
Dude, are you listening to Justin Bieber?
and I was like, yeah?
Dude, he's gay. Only girls listen to him.
Completely ignoring the fact that I, in fact, was a girl. And that type of thing back in my day happened everywhere with everything.
Only girls play that game. Only girls watch that kind of movie. Only girls listen to that kind of music.
So I felt a lot of frustration and anger towards being feminine because I didn't want to be the uncool one just because I was girly. And one fine day, preteen me was scrolling around on the internet when I saw a new concept, a girl who was not like the other girls. She wore sneakers, she hated wearing dresses in the color pink, and she was as tomboy as possible. She was everywhere. In books, in movies, in shows, everywhere. This shook me to my core. I know these days is giving pick-me girl energy, but you need to understand that back then, it constantly felt like society was putting so many girls into a specific box that I didn't really see myself in. So it meant something. There was a type of girl who wanted to challenge society's stereotyping by being different, even while knowing there would be judgments and that they didn't care about it. And so, in order to rebel against society, to stand out, to be cool, I had to be not like the other girls. Now listen, hindsight is 2020. Back then, misogyny was everyone's favorite hobby, okay? No one was missing out. From my POV, this whole not like the other girls thing, or NLOG for short, started off as a way to step out of stereotypes and ended up as another misogynistic way to dismiss other girls and make them feel lesser than. Yikes. But regardless, I felt really insecure about myself, and being an NLOG was a way to cope with that. I felt like a lot of my girlier friends were super pretty and were getting the attention of guys, and they were all into hobbies that I wasn't really into. And me, none of that came to me. Boys couldn't possibly comprehend the irresistible beauty I held inside me. And I couldn't really get into the hobbies that my friends were into because of the shame I felt due to prior incidents. So naturally, since I felt left out and insecure, being an NLOG gave me this fighting chance at feeling secure in myself. Because in my head, I thought that since I'm different and I'm not like the other girls, I was special and cool too, or whatever. Listen, insecurity makes you do some stupid stuff, dude. I mean, it's obvious now, but I didn't realize thinking like that came at a cost of viewing my girlfriends as slightly lesser than. I was just trying to feel cool at whatever cost. And that's when I started to get more into NLOG hobbies. And when I say that, I basically mean hobbies that my unnamed male family member approved of. Because if guys did it, that means it's cool, dude. I started listening to rock music, I watched a lot of wrestling, and I played a lot of video games. And guys, if I'm being real with you, I actually really do like WWE and video games. Just not the rock music as much. But as a kid, I was definitely doing it a lot more performatively to get people's approval, you know? But since I genuinely like video games, I thought trying to fit into spaces for gamers would feel more fun and accepting, right? Wrong. Do you guys remember the term girl gamer? If you don't, it's as dumb as you think. If you were a girl and you were a gamer, you weren't just a gamer. You were a girl gamer. And that indirectly just meant you had to jump through an extra set of hoops just trying to prove yourself. Guys, looking back, online gaming spaces were scary, dude. It was like shark infested waters, dude. There were piranhas too, and some electric eels as well. I don't know how streamers who are women do it, bro. Hell is clearly empty because all the demons are in the chat, bro. And for that reason, I felt like being a quote-unquote girl gamer in the space was strange. Whenever I'd have a convo with a guy about video games, it would go in two ways. One, yeah, so I like playing video games as a hobby.
Whoa, wait. You're a girl that plays video games? I never heard of that. Sorry. I just don't know how to act with girl gamers. I just think it's so attractive.
That's great. Wait, bro, where your clothes at? Oh, two. Yeah, so I like playing video games.
Yeah, sure. I bet you like playing mobile games, huh?
Not really.
Oh, wait, let me guess. You play The Sims, right?
Oh, yeah, I actually like that game.
Typical girl gamer. Once you play Call of Duty, you can call yourself a real gamer.
I don't care. And you would think I'm exaggerating. I'm not. I'm really not. You either get judged into oblivion and now you're fighting for your life trying to prove yourself, or you get really strangely objectified. And honestly, of course, while I describe it, it sounds super cringe, but as a preteen fighting for some attention anywhere, those crumbs that I found in those spaces were feeding me. And as an NLOG, I kinda like the shock and intrigue people would give me just because I seemed so different and unique from the other girls. Even though everyone, regardless of gender, can be a nerd, but okay. It was addicting and a big part of why I hung around in those types of online spaces, even though they were weird. But yeah, with that, I think it's time we talk about the elephant in the room. It's obvious and it's embarrassing to admit, but I have male validation issues. As an analog, I used to do things in hopes that guys would notice me. And I know some people will judge and cringe and call me a pick-me for that, but I'm sure some of you will understand what I'm talking about. There's this addicting feeling you get from being noticed, and I never got that, so I chased after crumbs for years and years. I mentioned it here and there, but I grew up on the internet. And to no surprise, the internet is a horrible place to be raised on. Early on, I saw a lot of people get popular and praised just for being attractive. Every influencer looked not like me, especially because they were white. I would just keep wishing that I looked like the other girls because I wanted people to look at me and think I'm pretty and be in awe of me and think about me and like me, just like they did with my pretty friends or influencers. And I wanted that because I wanted people to pay attention to me. And I wanted that because I wanted to feel loved and feel important and feel remembered and cared about. As an adult, I know it was never about the men. I feel like society puts such a big pressure on women to be pretty and perfect at all times. And they try to make it seem like such a big deal. But at the end of the day, a lot of us just want to feel loved and cared about. That's why a lot of us became analogs and pick-me's to begin with. But instead, I got stuck with this unnamed man. He's always watching whatever I do, no matter what. And I always had to make sure I looked alright in case he was judging. And I kind of hope he leaves soon, but I had to put on that NLOG persona hoping that at least guys would like me that way. But all I was doing was burying the real me. Because the real me felt really, really, really embarrassing. When I think about femininity and the feminine experience, there's always this one looming feeling that's been there for me no matter what. Shame. And as an Indian girl, shame was such a big part of womanhood growing up. I remember the first time I got my period. I didn't have any prior knowledge of what a period even was. So when I got it at home, I was horrified. And when I told my mom, she was like,
You probably got your period or maybe you're hemorrhaging.
"Excuse me? What?" And that's not even the worst part. She told me,
No matter what you do not tell your dad or your brother about this. No man can ever know.
and in that moment, I felt so much shame over something that was completely natural. And to this day, I have no idea why this had to be such a secretive, shameful thing for me. Because what's gonna happen if guys find out? There's nothing even remotely suggestive about it. But every time the time of the month came, I couldn't even tell my mom that I got my period. We literally had to use code words because it was that shameful. And just like that period story, so much of the feminine experience for me was labeled with shame. I had to always dress a specific way around certain people. I remember my friends' parents being like, "You should tell her to cover up, she's showing way too much skin." And then, of course, the judgmental stares from people on the sidewalk when I dressed the way I wanted to, and I slowly had to tone it down and be more palatable for people. Even now, at the age of 24, My local elders tell me how I should dress and what I should look like, and it never fails to fill me with rage. I also noticed how women with specific body types just get objectified into oblivion or made fun of, which is so crazy. Cause controversial opinion alert, having big boobs is not a suggestive thing, you freaks, it's just our bodies. And being fat or skinny or chubby or fit is okay. It's all okay. The shaming you get for having a specific body type has always just been so insane to me. But yeah, there's just so much shame associated in so many aspects of living as a woman. It's happened with everyone too. Me, my friends, girls that I don't even know, we've all had our bodies picked apart and criticized. Like it's a decision we choose on a random Monday to decide to look like this. It's annoying. And being an NLOG felt like escaping that shame because being more similar to a man felt less shameful in some ways. Which is kind of a crazy thing to realize now that I'm saying it out loud. And after a while, I started to realize something else too. So, I have a confession to make. At some point, I started questioning my gender. And in all those questions, I slowly realized what even is the difference between men and women? People of all genders can have different anatomies, and everything else is all just made up. Like it's all just stupid made up rules that humans just decided. None of this means anything. Because men and women and everyone in between can do whatever they please. They can be whoever they want. So, what did it even mean to be a woman? And assuming you are one, why do you get shamed and judged for whatever you decide that answer to be? Guys, I'm not afraid to admit it now. I freaking love pink. I love doing my makeup, I love getting dressed up, I love doing my nails. After a whole decade, I finally realized I was, in fact, like the other girls. And I'm happy to say that because I admire the other girls. I felt like what made me realize that it was okay to be girly was my best friend. I just truly admired the fact that they were being themselves, and I just loved their entire style, and I had stars in my eyes every time I look at them. And honestly, it's still the same way. I think it was always inside me. I had this burning desire to embrace femininity. Sometimes I'd go out and look at all these cute outfits and think about how I wanted to wear them, but I'd feel this internalized shame when I thought about me wearing them. But I took baby steps, and then I kind of realized the whole NLOG thing wasn't even really working for me. It just made me feel so ashamed to do things that I actually wanted to do. I've talked to a lot of femme peers, and a lot of us had this hating pink to loving pink pipeline. And it's so interesting how it's so common for us. There's so much shame in doing things that are commonly associated with femininity. And I still feel like that's the case. So just do what the frick you wanna do, dude. We gotta start letting this shit go. There's nothing wrong with being feminine or girly, and there's nothing wrong if you don't want to do that either. We're all just sacks of meat floating around on a rock. You might as well feel proud of yourself and do whatever you want while you still can. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about that. And I hope you too can realize how stupid and pointless this all is. There really was nothing to be ashamed about. Thanks for listening to me ramble.